Hi there, we're doing a documentary on how the media portrays young people. To start off with in our documentary, we will be interviewing young adults to see how they feel the media portrays them. After this, we will then be looking at our online research and comparing it to the results of our interviews. We will then be interviewing a large variety of the general public to find out how they feel the media portrays young adults.
Young people every day are blamed for many crimes including graffiti, violence, drugs, riots and many others. But is it really them, or are adults and the media stereotyping young people? We asked young people themselves how they felt about this.
How do you think the media portrays young adults?
Let's say they do kind of exaggerate how young people act. I mean, we're not all as bad as they portray them. They think just because of like events such as the riots, that they think that we don't necessarily think about situations, that we more sort of act rather than think about what we're doing. So they sort of do give us quite a bad impression when not all of us are as bad as they think we are.
Do you think the media portray it correctly?
To an extent. I mean, some people they do portray correctly, but at the same time they do make people who are innocent in a way, who don't get involved in things such as a riot, they make them seem like bad people when they're in fact not necessarily as bad as people think they are.
Do you go out a lot at night?
I do quite a bit, but not frequently. I do very much, yeah.
Are any of your friends portrayed correctly by the media?
I know one or two who sort of match the descriptions of that people give them, but quite a lot of my friends, not necessarily.
Yeah, do you go out a lot at night?
Yeah, most weekends, well every weekend, every Friday I try to.
Are any of your friends portrayed correctly by the media?
Yeah, they are, really badly.
So, how does the media portray young adults?
I think the media portrays us as sort of threatening, aggressive, like we take drugs all the time, but we're really not. Obviously there's a minority of us that do that, but the media portrays only them, not like the good people.
Are you intimidated when out in public because of how the media portrays you?
Not really. It would only be if they were like bigger than us, but that's, yeah.
How do you think the media portrays young adults?
I think the media portrays adults, young adults that is, quite negatively. Like the riots and stuff like that, it's not very good, but in some ways it's positive, but you don't really see like young adults saving people, stuff like that. So, quite negative, yeah.
Does the media portray correctly?
If you're thinking individuals, not really, because you'll see people who, like especially music, like they might be into like rap or metal and stuff, and you might think, oh, they're like a goth and that, but they're not really, they're just like anyone else.
Do you think any of your friends are portrayed correctly by the media?
I don't think so. Like you would see them at first glance and you might think, oh, that's an emo, but not really, no.
Do you feel intimidated by anyone when you're out in public?
I think people might think I'm different, like I might put my hood up and some people might be scared. Like I remember seeing the one show, someone put a hood up and 1 out of 10 people spoke to that person, but when he had the hood down, 9 out of 10 people spoke to him. So clothing and stuff like that and the media can really affect people, so yeah.
How do you think the media portrays young adults?
I think the media tends to portray young adults in a very negative light a lot of the time. A good example would have been the London riots last year. As we all know, every youth involved was portrayed as being effectively a criminal.
Media portrayed correctly?
I don't feel that I have any involvement in how the media portrays me because I'm not quite the type that would ever find myself involved in the actions like the London riots.
Do you go out a lot at night?
I don't go out there very often, apart from to go to house parties.
Do you think any of your friends are portrayed correctly by the media?
I know a few people by association who may have been affected by how the media portrayed them. But as I said, they're not as close as some of my friends, so I don't essentially know how.
Do you feel intimidated when you're out in public because of how the media is portrayed young adults?
I don't feel that the media has any real cause in making this an issue, as in I wouldn't feel intimidated just because the media says these young adults are out there doing these kind of things.
It is a known fact that 71% of youths are seen in a negative way through the media. Through our interviews, only 25% of people fit these stereotypes, so are the media twisting the truth? How does the general public feel about this?
In different lights, different areas, they have different opinions.
I think they tend to focus more on if the youngsters have done something wrong, rather than, praising them for when they do something really good. I think they tend to go to the bad side of the youngsters rather than the good side.
Does the media change your view on young people?
No, not really, because we can see good in most of the youngsters of today. As I say, they just seem to focus on when the youngsters do something wrong.
Do you think people are more scared of gangs and people wearing hoods because of how the media describes in the newspapers?
I think so, yeah.
And it also depends how old the people are.
Yeah.
The older you are, the more scared you get.
Do you think your son or daughter, do you have a son or daughter?
No, we've got 2 sons, but also we've got grandchildren.
Do you know if they go out a lot at night?
The eldest grandson, well, he's 25, yes. He does use Reading. Granddaughter...
Now and again.
Yeah, not very often. She tends to stick with her friends who have got, like, flats and things like that.
Okay, and last question is, do you worry about your son mixing in with the type of young adults you hear about being portrayed negatively about the media?
Well, it would bother me, yeah. It would bother me, yeah.
Okay, that's it.
The Daily Gripe says how elderly people assume teenagers are yobs and have no respect for young people as they feel they don't get it back. But from our own research, 65% of elderly people we asked said that they don't stereotype young people and treat them like they would any other person.
How do you think the media portrays young adults?
Not in a positive way. Not in a positive.
Okay. Do you think the media portrays young people in the right way?
No.
No. Okay. Does the media change your view on young people?
No, it doesn't.
Do you think people are more scared of gangs than people wearing hoods because of how the media describes them in the newspapers?
Yes.
Do you have children?
No.
Okay. Yep. Okay, how do you think the media portrays young adults?
Sometimes in a bad light, like for instance the riots, well the kind of riots of about things. Though it was portrayed in a really bad way, yet actually it wasn't the young adults that majority of them were protesting peacefully. It was other older people or other kind of groups that kind of hijacked it. So I think maybe in that instance, things like when the car was set alight, like police cars and things like that, they were supposedly deliberately put there. So I think often it's kind of hyped up and people look bad when actually it's kind of set up almost. Yeah.
Okay, does the media change your view on young people?
Not really, because I think I'm still fairly young, and sort of there's always people which do, you know, there's always bad people, like whatever age they are. So I mean, but I think there's a lot more good people than bad people.
Okay, do you think people are more scared of gangs than people wearing hoods because of how the media describes them in the newspapers?
Possibly, and things like, I suppose, banning hoodies in shopping centres and things like that, it just creates a hype. Things, yeah, I guess there is.
Do you think the media portrays young people in the right way?
I don't know, I suppose, like I was saying about certain events and things, they can be portrayed in a bad light, but on the whole, I don't know.
Okay, how do you think the media portrays young adults?
Not that accurately, but not too badly. Like, there are some good people and some bad people.
Okay, does the media portray you correctly?
Sort of. Sort of, they don't, they're not really stereotyping, but they, yeah, some and some.
Okay, do you go out a lot at night?
No, not really.
Are any of your friends portrayed correctly by the media?
Yeah.
And last question, do you feel intimidated by anyone when you're out in public because of how the media has portrayed young people?
No.